Wide open lands, beautiful rolling hills, streams and mountains. The Native American lands of today are beautiful and expansive and deceiving to all those who visit because living in a remote reservation can be challenging for one and all. My name is Wes Studi, and I'm an American and a Native American, Cherokee to be exact. And that gives me some special insights on what's happening in our world. So I feel that it's important to share the real story of life on the reservations and how we got to where we are today. Since the U.S. government was established in 1776, more than 500 treaties have been made with Native American tribes. Sadly, virtually all of them have been broken or are underfunded by the U.S. government. During the westward expansion in the 1800s, remote and often unfamiliar lands were allotted to the tribes as reservations, but 98% of those lands have been taken back, along with the homelands where we originally lived. The land that is left is not owned by our tribes, but rather held in trust by the U.S. government. This unique situation limits the building and sale of homes and the development of business and infrastructure. And no business means no jobs. Joblessness and lack of funding because of broken treaty promises has led to hardships and social inequities for our First Nations, including inadequate food supplies and poor nutrition, inadequate health care and high disease rates, shockingly high dropout rates and teen suicides in our high schools, limited disaster relief and tougher criteria for federal aid, and finally, substandard homes and more homelessness than any other group in the U.S. Did you know that 29% of employed Native Americans live below poverty level and up to 61% of Native children live in poverty or low-income households? Or that 23% of Native families live with food insecurity? Do you know what this means? Food insecurity is when a person does not have consistent access to food that is healthy and affordable. If you look at your Indian reservation lands, you can see how food access is a challenge. We live in remote areas. There aren't stores or markets in every neighborhood like there are in yours. Processed foods are the easiest to come by, but they often lead our children to obesity from eating what may be the only thing available. And due to unhealthy diets, statistics show that Native Americans have the highest rate of diabetes in America. Speaking of health, you may have heard of the Indian Health Service, clinics set up and run by the federal government. Their stated role is to provide health services to American Indians and Alaska Natives. The problem: they are few and far between across the reservations. Sometimes leaving the reservation is the only option for health care, but with limited resources, sometimes we have to make a choice to do the best we can and hope it's enough. Our housing is limited too. The U.S. government offers limited federal assistance with reservation housing, but the results are disturbing. There are 90,000 homeless Native Americans in the U.S., more than any other population. Where there is housing, it's estimated that 40% of it is incomplete or substandard. When disasters strike, the requirements for federal aid often do not apply to the reservations. Despite these challenges, climbing out of poverty is the hope and dream of many. But this is often blocked by educational barriers, from underfunded federal schools to a lack of college funding. As a result, only 13% of Native Americans hold a college degree, approximately half the rate of Caucasian Americans. Some students can earn scholarships, but few tribes can afford to provide these to every student. There are organizations that understand the importance of a college education and what it would mean not only for the students, but for our tribes as well. Partnership with Native Americans is one of those organizations, but for every Native American student who earns a scholarship from PWNA, there are 6 more waiting for funding. We need your help to live a better life. Help our children thrive and care for our elders. Do you know how much of all charitable giving in the United States supports Native causes? The number is shocking. It's less than 1%. That means that less than 1 penny from every dollar donated by individual donors, foundations, and corporations goes to help Native Americans, our fellow Americans. Leaders in Native American communities have found solutions that work within their cultures, but funding has not kept pace to support them. In fact, foundation giving for Native causes has declined to only 0.4%. Individual donors are also giving less, even though the need for food, water, and other basics in remote reservation communities is higher than ever. It doesn't help that so many people believe Native Americans receive government entitlements like free housing, education, and health care. There is some assistance available, but it's not what you think and not available to everyone across our vast reservations. These federal programs are often underfunded and basic at best. Casino revenue is not a solution either. Only 15% of tribes in the U.S. prosper from gaming, and while the limited jobs created by casinos help, they don't help anyone who doesn't live close enough to work at one of these facilities. Only you can make a difference. Research shows that foundations and corporations are unfamiliar with Native cultures or how to work with tribes and respect their history and customs. They are also uncertain about whether reservation programs are stable and able to complete grant-funded projects. But in reality, grant funding and in-kind supplies would only boost their stability. Tribal communities understand these concerns, but the real issue is a lack of knowledge. And that, or not having tribal contacts, are not good reasons to limit investments in Native American communities. These reasons can be overcome. In fact, there are groups who work with tribal networks, who can serve as intermediaries and make sure that grant projects are completed with a positive impact, basically ensuring that your foundation dollars will make a difference. Native communities aren't looking for handouts. We are putting forth practical solutions to the challenges that we are facing. Returning to healthy ancestral diets, training community leaders, getting more students to college. But solutions like these can only happen if we have the resources. Partnership with Native Americans is a nonprofit. They are Native American-led and Native serving, and they help address these issues but they can do so much more with your help and financial support. To learn more about your fellow Americans, Native Americans, and make a difference, please call PWNA today or visit their website, nativepartnership.org. That's thank you in the Cherokee language.